And yay! We're live! Yay! Oh, and we have people here already. Hi, Kay and Dana and Tyler. Yay! Hopefully everybody else catches up and finds us. So hello. Say hello, my loving admins.
Hello.
Where's Hexen gone?
Hexen, get back here.
Oh, Hexen! Where did you go? Now I gotta hold on. Okay, now I'm putting lotion on and I gotta click them back in. Hold on.
Sorry.
Hexen, what did you do?
Get back here.
Get back here. All right. So hello, everyone. So we have 3 of our admins on. Stephen, Leland, and Hexen. We have greetings from the tundra. Oh my gosh, I know. Hi, Doug. We have quite a few decks between us, although most of them are Hexen and I. Probably. Hello. I don't know, Stephen. Do you know how many decks you have? Because you've been getting a lot more late, like the last year.
I don't know exactly, to be honest. I'm going to have to count them again because I was thinking that the other day. I thought I've had some few decks more recently, and I'm thinking it's got to be over 20 now.
Yay! I mean, more. Yay!
Yes, and I still hold the title of the admin with the fewest decks.
Yes, you do, Leland. Yes, you do. We'll have to change that eventually. Okay, actually, I want to turn this light off because I forget. Even though I'm totally broad, that this camera sucks. All right, so what we are doing tonight is showing off the decks that we as admins, our favorite decks for what we've been talking about, for stitching the story together, for storytelling decks, for some people will also call it like pathworking decks. Those are decks that are maybe a little bit different, but kind of decks that you can look at a card and think, oh, if I jumped into that card, I could like create my own story into that card. So does somebody want to start? Of course, Hexen and I had to whittle it down to 5, and Stephen and Leland were much more disciplined about it.
Well,
Yeah,
I couldn't only own maybe 8 decks.
Right?
I couldn't do less than 5. And there was like, and I was still here thinking 5 minutes before I was like, oh my God, I could have put this one. I could have put that one.
Yep, I had to put a lot. Actually, I had to convince Stephen to have one of them so that I could at least only keep it down to 5. All right, who wants to start?
I can start.
All right, let's start with Hex. I'm hoping that I can figure out how to make Hexen like alone. Hold on. That way. Maybe. But not me. Hex. Oh, solo layout. Wait, I think I got it. Yay!
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. So I'm going to flip the camera for this.
Okay.
Can I flip the camera on this?
I don't know.
Oh, God. Well, I guess that's out of the question.
No, we can see your face.
All right, let me then move this over here. Perfect. Okay, that's better. I thought I could flip the camera. Okay, so my first deck that I'm picking is the... Okay, this light is going to annoy me. Hold on. Is my Nicoletta Chicoli Tarot. And this one, I use a lot for child work. Like, it's definitely not a fluffy deck. This is what the box looks like. At first, anyone who looks at the box and some of the pictures would think it's a fluffy deck. but it's really far from it. This is a deck that I use for like child work, childhood traumas and things like that. And it definitely has like a fairy tale feel to it. I'll show you some of the cards. So it's almost like a whimsical deck, but at the same time, I do consider this a shadow work deck as well. Just because some of the cards, let me see if I can find, for example, this one, you see the little girl, she is biting into the lollipop, and the lollipop does not look happy from that. And that's our Ace of Swords. So it is definitely, at least for me, a shadow work deck. Some of the images might be disturbing, like this one. Being spanked by a devil. It is slightly creepy. I do consider this kind of like on the darker side. But for storytelling, it is definitely a really good deck. Like the is this Death? I want to say this is Death. So if you see here, she's Snow White. She bit into the apple. And you have the 7 dwarfs sitting around her.
Aww.
This one, like the 4 of Swords, you have a full-size person inside a baby crib.
Wow.
So it is very fantasy, but at the same time, dark, creepy, and for me, it's great for storytelling. The Lovers is one of my favorite cards in this one because we don't have a male. We have the woman, and the snake is her lover. The snake is tangled up around her. And if you see her, she herself is the tree. And the snake is wrapping itself around her, so that snake is the lover. The snake itself is her lover. And this is, for me, the most disturbing card in the deck. When I see this card, I think of like sexual assault and things like that. This, for me, is one of the strongest cards in the deck.
Oh,
So as you can see, it's definitely not a fluffy, duffy child deck.
definitely not.
And that was the Nicoletta Chicoli Tarot. And I believe this is still available off of Amazon.
Yes, I think so too.
Mama, you have this deck, no?
No,
No?
I do not. I have the
Oracle?
Oracle. Yeah.
See, I haven't gotten the Oracle because I'm not sure, though. I would have to really look into it or look at a walkthrough because I'm not sure if the art was used on both decks. That's what's held me back from getting the Oracle.
Yeah, same art, very creepy. I'll be honest, hold on, can I get us back to group? Shit. I'm so bad with this. I'll be honest with you, I don't use it very much because it is super creepy. I could see using it for childhood readings, going back, and I can totally see doing that. I don't use it very much. And I will say it's because it doesn't have keywords, I'm always like, what this says to me is usually creepy. So it's not a deck that I use a whole lot, but it is.
It's like dark. It's dark. Definitely a dark deck. Like the themes in the deck are very dark. And you wouldn't think that. Like I never thought, I thought it was like a cute little fantasy, deck when I first bought it, and looking through it and everything, I connected it with it in a way that I never thought I would,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is a great point. Damn it. Now I might have to get this deck. because I could totally see where that would be really good for transitions too. I totally get that, MA. Yep. Hi, Lori. Okay, next. You gonna keep going, Hex?
I can. Yeah.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Whoops.
My next deck is the second edition of the Tarot of Unknown Shadows. This deck I'm just now diving into. I still have it in order. Did this come out in 2020? I believe the seller still has it on Etsy. This is by Dark Synergy. This deck I really love. Like I said, I got this back in 2020. I still have it in order. I have not used it, but I have flipped through it. I've used it for your Tarot Tuesday classes. And what I would use this for is for ancestor work, ancestor readings, and to kind of go back in time and learn about your ancestors. And I'll show you why. The majors. Now, this is a dark creepy deck. It's called Tarot of Unknown Shadows. That's the Magician, the High Priestess, and I'll show you the Empress. To me, she reminds me of a widow with the veil.
Damn you, Hexen!
The Emperor. And one of the things I love, I am a sucker for the Hierophant card. It is my birth card. So I like when Hierophants are kind of like weird or distorted somehow. This guy has no face.
Damn it.
And then this is where I see ancestors. Like, if you look at the art, it almost looks like old photography. Like the Chariot is Uncle Sam. The Hermit, Mama, you're going to love this one.
Oh my God. Damn it, Hexen!
And the Hangman. I love the Hangman. Now, this is one of my favorite death cards. Death is looking at its own reflection.
You ass.
And the Devil is one of my favorite devils also.
All right. Where did you get it? Fucking fuck.
I'll send you the link.
All right.
I think it's still available on Etsy. So the minors, like the cups, we get like teacups. So this is where it kind of gets a little bit more freaky. Like the two ladies here, they have no head or face. The actual teacups are their head.
Oh, yeah.
So for the Three of Cups, we have 3 geishas. So for me, at least, I definitely connect to ancestor energy when it comes to this deck.
A lot.
The teacups. Let's show some of the pentacles. I believe this is a Russian woman, and she's carrying like jugs of water or something. So we do get people of different backgrounds here. We got Japanese. We got like, it almost has a feel to me as well of like World War II. I don't know if it's just the pictures, but I kind of get like flashbacks from that. And then the wands are, what do you call those? Umbrellas. Yeah, that's an umbrella. The wands are umbrellas. Yeah, definitely ancestor vibes. You can definitely tell a story with this. But at the same time, again, it's a little bit dark and creepy. And I love that in decks. For me, I love doing shadow work with decks. And then the swords have a more of a samurai feel to them.
Nice.
See here, I got Germans, or well, they kind of look like Germans, right?
Yeah. Nice.
And so the deck comes gilded in gold, and the back has the gold flash on it. This is the second edition. There is a first edition, and it is more like pastel in color. So I do prefer the second edition, and I'll shoot you the link. I'll shoot you the link for sure for this one.
9. I need to see our 9.
Oh, Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords. So this one is not one of my favorite 9s. But again, I haven't really played with this deck or...
Huh.
I don't get Nightmare from this.
That's Wands.
It's almost like, oh, that is Wands. Jesus. Of course it's Wands. So here goes our 9.
Huh.
It's a little different.
Yeah, but I could see like maybe if it's one of those battle pictures where all of those people are dead.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But for sure, I mean, the Page of Swords reminds me of Shirley Temple. It kind of looks like her a little bit.
Oh, that's cute. All right, very good. All right, now the hexing is done too. Who wants to go next?
I guess it'll be me.
Leland.
All right. I have Darkwood Tarot. And I love this deck.
That's a good one.
I absolutely adore this deck, especially for storytelling, partially because if you read the guidebook, it's set up like a story from the beginning. And you are encouraged to get into the viewpoint of the Fool. Also, the way you were talking about the directions that people are looking in the deck, almost all of these cards have them looking in one direction or another, making it really easy to get into how they play together. So Page of Pentacles looking one direction, and got that look on her face.
Yes.
Mama Squirrel's face. Oh, we'll like this one.
Yeah.
9 of Swords.
Yes.
But also, it works in mythology. So you have some of the cards are very explicitly vampires. And if you read the entry for the card, it's talking about how the theme of the card plays into with vampires or werewolves or whatever's on the card. There's a great sense of motion in the deck as well.
You're making me reconsider to get this deck.
Again, Six of Swords with that sense of motion in the card, where you can see that she's moving away from the other woman.
Oh, I love the crocodiles in the water.
Mm-hmm. Even the wind is used in this deck to create that motion, like the 8 of Pentacles.
Nice. Nice.
I absolutely love this deck. Also, since I pulled the Fool,
I love
the
that
entry for this card literally is talking about how she's looking up and she's not paying attention to the ground underneath her, but it's generating in front of her by magic anyway, so she doesn't need to look.
Yes, I love it. And I have to say, this deck, that was one of those decks for me that when I got it, my first impression, because I don't usually read the books very much, but that deck is one I highly recommend reading the book, because her story about each card
is phenomenal.
It just
Woman needs
doesn't.
to write fiction, because I would read every book she ever put out.
Yes, that is Sasha Graham, right?
Yes. Art by Abigail Larson and book by Sasha Graham.
Yeah, just amazing. That is one of those decks that, without reading the book, sometimes a couple of the cards I thought, I don't know, but her storytelling
But then you
on
read
it.
her storytelling about the card, and it clicks.
Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hi, Jess. All right, Stephen, you ready for one?
Yes, I'll do one. My first one is one of my favorite decks, and that's the Druid Craft Tarot. And
I still don't have this.
Crazy pants.
what's Hexen doing now?
He says he doesn't have it.
He doesn't have it. Oh well.
This will
I'm
change
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you've got. I just love the artwork there. You've got a knight there. You can the direction charging there forward. You've got that energy, that movement. Another directional card here where you're face to face with the King of Wands. He's looking you straight in the eye and challenging you, and maybe encouraging you in, you're having a conversation. And if you put these two together, you've got that movement towards a conversation. You're taking action, of the mind, and moving towards a conversation about your purpose, about what you're wanting to do. So you've got that energy there as well. And I was looking at these earlier, and I was looking at the Nine of Cups, and I was looking at the Three of Cups. And I thought what a contrast these two were. That often the Nine of Cups is where we've achieved something, we're satisfied, but look, he's the only one at the table. And quite often, when we look at the traditional Nine of Cups, he's there on his own, sat there amidst of all his cups. So he may have some kind of emotional fulfillment, but where are the people to share it with? And of course, then you get the 10 of Cups afterwards with the family and the togetherness. But of course, like the Three of Cups here is a more simpler affair, not so much lavish setting as in the Nine of Cups, but they've got that social interaction. So that's where their emotional fulfillment is coming from. So that to me creates a story of there's a guy here who's sat there waiting on his own, wanting to share in a feast with people, wanting to share his accomplishments, but maybe he's not built the relationships that he needs, and then others are busy just celebrating together. So I thought, that there's all kinds of images in this deck like that can create a story, and give a reading about challenging us to, well, are we? It's okay accomplishing things, but if we don't have people to share it with, is it what have we really accomplished? And to build the relationships rather than just the things that give us pleasure. So the artwork in this is, you've got here with the eight of wands. You've got the guy there throwing. You've got that movement, almost aiming it. That movement aimed in a certain direction. The High Priest rather than the Hierophant. Just I love that image.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
So you've got with the seven of cups, just gazing into the pond there and seeing the reflection and you've almost got there where it's just a reflection that's almost illusionary, whereas there's a cup right here sitting beside them. And are we focusing on wishful thinking rather than concentrating what's there in front of us? You know, that kind of story, a daydreamer perhaps, where
That's a
and
really
turning
good
away
7.
from again the direction. So I think the Druidcraft is a very good deck for doing the kind of linking things together and creating stories of all the different aspects that Jen's been talking about over the past 2 weeks.
Yes. Love it.
Damn it, Steven, you're gonna make me do it.
Yes. Yes. That, by the way, that was the deck that had put me over the edge, that I asked Steven if he would pull that one out because it's so good. It's such a great storytelling deck. And it meant that I didn't have to include that, and I'm still down to 5. But that's one of my favorites. Love, love, love that one. All right. So for me, can I make myself this? Yes. Technology and me. Okay. So the first one I'm going to show is Bone Stone and Earth Flesh. This is the deck by the masterful Anna Turian is the illustrator, and Avalon Cameron is the author. And it is not available right now, but I'm pretty sure she announced that it was going to be coming up. They were going to do another edition or something. So be watching for it, because it's absolutely one of my favorite decks of all time. And I will be getting some kind of backup copy when I can again, because I love, love, love this deck. This deck has a lot of cards that are so good for pathworking. This is the Empress. To me, this kind of deck is the kind of deck you feel like you can step right into. There's quite a few cards that look like you're in the first person. This is the Six of Pentacles. So it looks like these are your hands. And this is, the cycle of giving and receiving. This is so much like you're standing right there looking at the bird sitting on your hands. So good to start the storytelling with, obviously this is you and you're standing here looking at it. Just really good. There's several cards like that. This is the Four of Cups. Again, you are in the boat. You are in the boat with this person who is just looking. He's got all of these fish in the boat with him. The fish are jumping all around him and he could care less. So you're looking at this person going, hey, asswipe, there's things all around you. Why aren't you noticing some of the awesome things that are going on around you? That to me, that helps you to tell the story that you're actually in the card already, looking right at this idiot. The artwork is stunning, helps me, create the story by really bringing you inside. This is the Five of Cups. So again, that depression, boy, do you feel that depression here, that absolute sorrow. Right here, the elephant has come upon the elephant graveyard. Oh, doesn't that just rip your heart out? For me, storytelling begins with the heart, but everything does begin with the heart. That emotion stuff, to me, I have to feel it in order to create the story. And so that is one of the things that helps me to create. Here's death. And again, we're looking at the transition right in front of you. The roots coming up and taking back what it needs to nourish itself to begin again. it's just so so conducive for me of the story. Each one of these cards, it tells a story by itself, much less than when you start putting them together. This hands down has to be absolutely one of my favorite Four of Pentacles cards. This story to me is maybe one of the best storytelling cards I have seen in a long time. Here, she is so wrapped up in the material that outside her window, life is continuing. And she just is worried about the material things that she has. And now she's dead. She's missed life. And it's still going on outside her window. But boy, has she missed all of that. It's all gone. She wasted her entire life just worried about the material. And yay, she has a crown on her skull head now, and that's all she can claim to have. So again, this is just such an amazing storytelling deck to me. Each card is about the story itself. Really helps you to jump inside the card. That is got to be the best Fool card ever. Stepping through, you can make the world up just by looking at it. I love.
Mama, I'd like to add real quick. There is another version of the deck that is available through Make Playing Cards. It is a sketch version of the deck. So
That's
some of the cards are not you'll see some of the cards are not. It's the same card, but some of the sketches are incomplete. It's a black and white or kind of like a sepia tone. But if you're looking to kind of get one version of this deck, that one is still available, and it's pretty much worth getting.
Yes. That's true. I forgot about that. MakePlayingCards.com.
I think she's calling it the Bones of the Bone Stone.
Yes. I did hear that. I forgot all about that. Thank you, Hexen. The Tower. Somebody was mentioning the Tower deck. Or the Tower card. Yeah, that's quite the Tower, right? Just rip your heart right out. And you can see the story. Just by looking at the card, you can see that story. So, yes. So this is the Bone Stone and Earth Flash. The D&D Tarot. All right. Hexen. You're up, mister.
This one, you can say kind of fluffy. I recently got this during Christmas time. It's the Fantasma Tarot by Paulina Faye. I guess she's going by Paulina Faye now, but she is Paulina Cassidy. She's created a couple of Oracle decks. She has, I think this is like her 4th tarot deck now. This one I love. I love all of her decks. I don't have them all, but she's one person that I really want to collect all of her decks just because her art is so beautiful. But this one's a very whimsical world. Some of her decks are more animal-based, people-based, fae-based. This one, she kind of merged everything into one. So we get kind of like mythical creatures. The Magician is my all-time favorite.
Aww.
And what I like about this one, the colors are more saturated than in her previous decks. Some of her decks are more like pastel looking. In this deck, she really went in with color. Look at this Empress.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It does have like because the colors are more saturated, it almost gives me like a stormy kind of vibe to it.
Oh, yeah.
And what I find this one good for is like if you're feeling down, if you're feeling like you're having a gray day, you know, like one of those wintry gray days, right? That you don't even want to get up from bed. This for me kind of does it for me. It cheers me up. The Hermit is a peacock.
Yay!
Let's see. Justice is an owl. So we get animals. We get like the Hangman. He's like a fey looking creature dude.
Oh, he's cute.
So she mixes a lot of the and then the Death. This has to be one of my favorite. I don't know if you can see that well. The light is not helping me, but we have the peacock breathing life into the skeleton that has been buried. You see the peacock is dead, its bones, but that peacock is breathing life into what is dead and giving it life again, you know, making it part of nature. If you see the skeleton, we have like plants growing out of it now. We even have a mermaid for temperance, which I love. Let me go into some of the minors real quick. Two of Wands, we have a winged lion.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this has to be like one of my favorite of her decks. Like out of all of them, I really like her use of color. But now I want to get the Joie de Vivre and the Spirit Song, which I don't have.
I love Spirit Song. That's one of my spring decks I pull out for spring.
This one does give me kind of spring vibes, but I feel like definitely for this time where we're transitioning from winter to spring, it'll be a good deck just because of the like some of the cards look more like a stormy night, more grayish in tone.
It kind of gives me,
yeah.
Definitely.
Let's go into the swords. I want to show you some of the swords. Mama, this is you. You're the Ace of Cups.
Ah, that's my peacock.
She uses the peacocks a lot. The Two of Cups, this is funny. So I think this is definitely like, it just reminds me of the, from the, oh my God, babe.
The Skeksis.
The Skeksis. Yes, the Skeksis.
How did I know?
The other day we were like, The Three of Cups, we have 3 flamingos. It was funny because I was watching the show on Netflix. I started rewatching it.
I love it. You're Crystal.
And I kept on imitating them. I love this Knight of Cups.
That's adorable. And I love the balloon. That's beautiful.
The King of Cups. He's kind of like a horn god, kind of.
Beautiful.
It's a very moody. It's kind of moody because of like out of all of hers, like we get more of a moody deck, right? It's not so fluffy. The Three of Swords. You could see the pain in his face. And let me do the 9. So we have the 8. This is the 8 of Swords.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, this is not so fluffy. This is probably the darkest deck I've seen of hers.
Yeah. That's the 9 of Swords. Which is definitely like a very dark day, you know, like being caught up inside the nightmare. Like here, it's not about being in your head, but it is. But at the same time, I see it more as being inside the nightmare.
Yeah. That's beautiful, though.
And let me show a pentacle. The Six of Pentacles, I love. And that was the Fantasma Tarot by Paulina Faye.
Beautiful. All right. Now, I don't mean to step on toes, but I meant to do 2 so I could catch up a little because you guys know me and I'll keep going forever and ever. So I'm going to try to go through 1 more real quick and then we'll go back to Leland.
Yep.
All right. The second one I'm going to show is called the Somnia Tarot. This deck is awesome. This deck was a gift from Mikey, actually. And it is really, it stems from night paralysis, you know, when you get sleep paralysis. And it's very dark, but I just can't help but love this deck. Like I can see going into each card. The Fool. It's very dark, though. I will tell you, very, very dark. And so you have to know what this kind of a deck is for. I don't know if I would be using this deck for other people's readings necessarily. Just like Pathworking and my own, it would be strictly for me. It's a deck that I've been using kind of for like mental health issues. Because it is super dark. But very descriptive. Trying to
the Tower. I love the Tower in this deck.
Yeah. This is the Hermit. Again, you can see stepping into, for me, the storytelling cards are the ones you can see stepping into and being there, you know? So for me, the Hermit, so right on. Love this. The Wheel of Fortune, I love this idea. The Wheel of Fortune is a clock on fire in the water. So it just talks to me we don't have enough time. Yes, things will come around and go around again and the cycles will continue, but don't waste time fucking around with bullshit. You know, this is the ultimate get off your ass and really do something because you don't have time to worry about bullshit stuff. This is the Justice card. Again, I think somewhat because the images are so striking that I find this deck very easy to do stuff like Pathworking. Here's the Tower card that Hexam was talking about. See the house burning down and on her back. Oh, just come on.
And then if a wave crashes through, she'll like drown. It's crazy. Right? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, very, very, very. Yes. So I'm not going to go through a ton of these because we could just get lost, but I'll show a couple. Like here's the 5 of Wands. I love this image. The bellows blowing out the 5 candles. Each one is very storytelling again, just on its own. Much less if you put something next to this card, now, you know, you can tell an entirely different story. So tell yourself a whole new story. It's really, I like it a lot. So that is the Somnia Tarot. I believe this deck is still available. It is an independent deck, but if you look it up on Google, I'm sure you can find it. I'm almost sure that it didn't completely sell out, unless it has since I originally showed it. It's possible, but Yes. Yes, David. David loved Phyllis Crotch. Phyllis was the first book that he ever recommended when he was mentoring me. I started with Phyllis Carrot's deck, Witchcraft. All right, Leah Len.
Okay, I get to show you Mystic Fairy Tarot, which was the first deck I ever connected to, and there's a reason for it. We'll get to those cards eventually.
Mhm.
But the one that was right on top of my deck makes sense, because Mama Squirrel loves it. That Nine of Swords. And the thing about this one with the storytelling, yes, we can talk all day about the thorns and how they're not digging into her, or we can look at the rose in the background that's being carried away by the bird.
Yes. Yes.
Also, the Hanged Fae, which is this deck's Hanged Man, is absolutely amazing. And also, they're kind of laughing.
Tilt it forward a little bit. We're getting a glare.
Better?
A little bit more. There you go. Perfect.
Completely relaxed. Chose to be in this position. Having fun. I love it.
Yes. Yes.
But then we have Four of Pentacles. Hold on, let's see if I can turn off this light, and maybe we'll be able to see these cards better.
Yes, much better.
And she's ignoring that rat stealing out of her bag because he's not even paying attention to everything around her.
That is a strong Four of Pentacles.
Hell yeah.
Also, I just love the Magician in this deck. He looks like someone you could walk up to and ask him a million questions.
Yes, which is what you want from your magician.
Yes. Let's see here. And the two cards that made me fall in love with this deck have to show up. It is the High Priestess and the Priest.
Yeah.
And their contrast, you'll notice they're in very similar positions on very similar pedestals. Big difference. He has his eyes open, she has them closed. He's looking forward at you. She's looking inward to pay attention to intuition instead. These are the cards that got me to be able to connect to this tarot deck, because it was the first time I was able to wrap my head around those cards.
Yes.
Also, yes, this one does have a very fairy tale kind of look to it, which I actually love, because sometimes you need to break away from all this darkness. And
hell yeah.
Card with the dragon. And I also love that the dragon is looking off the card, potentially towards something else in the reading.
Yes. Yes.
I absolutely love this deck. Also, the Hermit. Again, he looks like a wise old gnome.
Oh, he's so
fairy.
cute.
He looks like somebody you could ask a million questions to again, and I love it.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Good night, Dana. We love you.
Night, Dana. Also, Knight of Pentacles, focused off into the distance, not really looking at the next card at all.
Yes.
Queen of Wands. It's looking quite angry at something. Potentially the thing on the next card.
Gorgeous.
Also, I love the way that the Pentacle suit in this deck almost looks like a found family story, with the way the mice are are played in with the fairy. She almost builds herself a new family with them because they're with her always.
Chosen family. Yay.
Yep.
Love it. Very nice. I like that one a lot. All right, Stephen.
Okay, the next one is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. That's the proper name, Forest of Enchantment. The confusion is because the book says your path through the enchanted forest,
Yeah.
not Forest of Enchantment. So that's and the first card that I really love. Well, the two cards I'm going to show you are like the first card in the majors and the last. We'll see why. Here, you have the full card, which is renamed as the White Heart. Some of the most of these cards have different names. The suits have got different names as well, but you're being looked at here and almost invited to start your journey through the enchanted forest, and he's going to be your guide through the forest. So that's like the beginning of the story. And you have the wide world, which is the world card at the other end, where you've come through the forest. But he's looking back at you and saying, well, you've come through the forest, but there's still a whole world more to explore beyond the forest. So it's like once you've finished one cycle, you begin a whole new different cycle of exploration. So that creates the story in itself, the beginning and the end, which starts a new tale. You've got the Two of Boons, which is like the Two of Pentacles with the balancing, but then you've got like the troll or whatever it is under the bridge, and there's a story with that that we can all relate to. So we may be just getting on with the day-to-day cares of the world, trying to get our things in order, but maybe we don't see what's lying beneath us, that can we're not always aware of the dangers that maybe that lying in wait underneath. This Nine of Boons, which is the Nine of Pentacles, I particularly like this card because quite often the traditional Nine of Pentacles is more of a more luxurious sort of setting of someone that's a bit wealthy, but this is a simple dwelling, but she's happy with her little simple cave dwelling in the woods here that she's created for herself, and she has all that she needs, which to me conveys the basic meaning of the Nine of Pentacles, that it's creating the environment that we want and having the things that we need, and it needn't be great riches. It could be a simple way, but so, and she's there, with the bird there, keeping her company. You've got the eight of spells, which is like the Eight of Wands, that swift movement, and reminds me of the sort of the owls from Harry Potter, sort of all racing towards some kind of action, going towards Hogwarts and that kind of thing. And the Enchanter, which is the magician, he's there with all his books and his knowledge. The owl there to represent the wisdom, and he's just creating, manifesting what he wants. of all that knowledge that he has, all the skills that he has, and that to me conveys, it's almost like a wizard kind of magician, practicing and exercising his skills there.
I like that
So
he's an
very
older
much,
magician.
yes,
I
like
like that he's an older
older,
magician.
yeah, the more experienced one, that's had years of experience and knowledge he's accumulated, as regards to perhaps sometimes the younger magician that you often see in the tarot, which is like, to me, like the novice of using our skills to manifest things in our lives. And he's the more he's experienced, but he's still almost practicing his skills even at his advanced stage, perhaps, that he still keeps his hand in. He still has to keep doing it to keep that knowledge working and practicing, telling us that we never get past the stage where we don't have to keep doing it. We're always learning and experimenting with new things. So this deck is literally like a fairy tale deck, literally an enchanted forest where you can encounter all kinds of animals and characters and everything, just all the things that traditional fairy tale stories are made of.
Love it. And I will say that deck in particular, to me, when we talk of pathworking, which I swear I'm going to do a video on pathworking exclusively soon. Pathworking is very much about taking one specific card and jumping into that card to do a complete meditation of what is surrounding you in that card. To me, Forest of Enchantment, I don't think there's a better deck for pathworking specifically than that deck is. It is unbelievable for pathworking specifically. Yes. Okay. Who's up? Is it me or is it supposed to be Hexen? I can't remember now.
You go.
All right. The next deck I want to do is called the Alice Tarot. This is a Baba Studios deck. So if you can find it, good luck. I try not to show too many of these that you can't ever get again, probably. But this deck is so good with that. I'm an Alice freak. I kind of love Alice in Wonderland. And this deck I actually wanted for years before they reissued it finally. And the reason is because it's just so gorgeous. It is, again, this is such a pathworking deck. This is the Fool card. And talk about telling a story. This is so the story of Alice. And in this case, you get to kind of jump into the story with her. The Magician. And the cards themselves are just beautiful. The backgrounds, Baba Studios is so good for, the backgrounds of their decks. They are meticulous in their detail. So this is when I first wanted this deck. I know it's discontinued. When I first wanted this deck, I think they were going for like $2,000. If you could find them. And so I just kind of lusted after it until I figured out that they were reissuing it. And then of course I snatched up, that's the Hierophant, my copy of it. As soon as I knew it was coming back out, I just was totally excited by it. And again, if you have read the Alice books, this is not necessarily a deck for you if it's just you've just seen the movies, but the books, it has all the characters of the books in here, and the stories of all the characters are represented. So they are truly masterful in pulling all of the characters from the books specifically. This is the Hermit card. And so this was a no-brainer for me because here's the Hanged Man. Just is absolutely gorgeous, stunning. You know, off with her head. This is death. And for me, pathworking with this deck is kind of an amazing thing because you can pretty much be Alice. Here's Temperance, you know, taking a bit of the mushroom to grow, taking the bottle to shrink. It's just amazing. The Jabberwocky is the devil. It is, here's her sister. Her sister is the star. Her sister, you know, the one person that always believes in her. It's just, it's a deck like no other. It is one of my all-time favorite decks of all time. Here's the Two of Wands is looking through the keyhole. So it lends itself to the story of the tarot. By far. Just amazing. So the hedgehogs, the Five of Wands. So good. It's you know, there, to me, there will never be an Alice deck to beat this one because I just lusted after it for so long. years before they said they were going to reissue it. This is the Two of Coins, or the Two of Pentacles. And it does take like each part of the story. So, love it. I have two more. How many does everybody else have? Hexen, you have two more, right?
I have two more.
Everybody else?
I just have one more.
And I have none.
Okay, so Leland's all set. I'm going to go one more, then I'm going to do one more. And then Hexen, I'm going to make you do... You have two more or one more? I forgot.
Two more, but I could cut through them quickly. I don't have to show like too many.
Yeah, I'm going to do my remaining two. I'm going to just do one more and I'll save one for the end. The next one I have is the Dreamkeeper's Tarot. This is it's now in mass market. This is actually the independent version, but it's now in mass market. Do any of you find that if a deck is based on a familiar story that it's hard to get away from that existing story to do readings with it? Oh, that's a good question, Emma. It depends on how well done the deck is.
Yep, it really does. If the deck is very strictly showing the story that already existed, it's going to be hard for me to break away. If it's just pulling on sort of the ideas presented by the story, then it's a whole lot easier. Yeah. Easy example being the Supernatural deck. You present me the archetypes from the Supernatural series, I can go all day making up stories.
Yes.
You give me specific events from the show, I'm going to spiral into being fangirl.
Yes. Absolutely. I agree. Okay, I forgot to put myself on solo the last time I did this. So sorry, guys, if you couldn't see many of those. All right, so Dreamkeepers is now a mass market deck. It is super ethereal. And for me, I really like super ethereal. So it is very fantasy based. This is the Magician or the Creatrix in this deck. I really like ethereal decks, and so I can make up a story about each of these characters. This is the Empress, or this is the High Priestess, sorry. Not a very typical High Priestess, mind you. but someone I can relate to. Then the Empress. It makes it, though, so that you're able to create stories that may be a little bit different than you normally would. This is the Hierophant. Come on, glow. Stop it. The Lovers. I love this card. Still having the masks on. Do we really know what's underneath the masks? How well do we know our partners? Again, I'm not going to go through all of these, but super, super ethereal, and I really like ethereal. So this is the Hermit card. I'm going to go and look inwards. See, she's seeing, whoops, wrong side. She's seeing herself in the clouds here. This is a great storytelling kind of deck. For that reason, I find it very easy to go into this ethereal place. I think because, I don't know, I have a rich fantasy life, I think. So it makes it easier because I can create the stories. This is the Devil card. Easier when it's, I think the more outlandish and outrageous it is, the easier it is for me to do stories from it. Does that say something about my mental health? Perhaps, but it's okay.
I would say the same for me. And you'll see in the deck I'm about to show. I don't know if I would read for someone with this deck.
Oh my goodness.
This is available on Amazon right now. It is a shadow work based deck. It says deep psychological insights. Now, trigger warning for some of these images. I'm going to go very quickly here. Some of my favorite major arcana is the Fool. These are the backs. The backs are actually brown, and so is the edging. It's like a chocolate brown, which at first I was like, when I wanted to order it, this was like a turn off. But once I saw it in my hand, I was like, that's kind of cool. Never seen something like that. The Magician. Love this Magician. Definitely otherworldly, creepy, and sexual. The Lovers. Here we start seeing some body parts. The Chariot has some S&M vibes. Now, this is one of the most disturbing cards, at least for me. I have to sit with this. I just got this deck. It's my newest addition to my collection. This card I have to sit with because it's gruesome to me. It's disturbing. Nightmarish Hermit. Okay, I'll show strength and then I'll hop off the majors. I love the strength. So you get fantasy, death. Love that death card. So you get fantasy, whimsical, dark, the devil. This is another one of those. If you see what's going on there. And the Tower. It's one of my favorite towers. Let me get some minors in here real quick. Two of Pentacles. So it also gives me very like apocalyptic on some of the images. Five of Wands. Very nightmarish world, Look at that Seven of Wands. That's crazy. Definitely psychological. The Ten of Wands, we see the person's face here or the creature's face. And then you see like the ones are all about to just fall off because they're facing all types of directions. He looks like he can't just take it anymore. Let's see, King of Wands, kind of cool. So this one for sure has some very weird, emotional, and it gets my mind to think. This is the Two of Cups, and I literally, when I see this one, it kind of reminds me of like picking at each other's brain, literally. And then this is the last one I'll show for this one. It is the Five of Cups. And this one for me, for sure, makes me feel that those voices in your head, right? You have the two in the back almost celebrating, poking fun of, or even happy about this person's sadness. So this is a deck that I'm dying to dive into, definitely, but I think for sure it's something more for my personal practice than to read for others. And then, do you want me to show my last deck real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. And my last deck is none other than the Taro Vampires. This is one of my favorite decks. Definitely in my top 3. The book to this is amazing. The book to this goes into storytelling. There's some, I believe there's some of the pathworking in there too. And this one I've edged in red. It is a vampire deck. It is my favorite vampire deck. Let me see some of my favorite ones. Two of Swords or Two of Knives. You can see like the vampires crying blood. We don't only see vampires, we see these winged panthers, creatures. We have snakes. We have werewolves. Let's see. The moon. I love the moon in this. She carries the sickle. Let's see. Death is my favorite from this deck. Here we see a vampire in hibernation. And we have the Lovers. Now this Hangman is insane. I hate the glare, but he has that fire like coming out of him, like lava. And the Lovers, where are you? Watch it be at the end. I probably passed it already. I'll show you guys the Tower. And that'll be the last card for this deck. Love this Tower too. I think I have a walkthrough of this in my channel if anyone's interested, because I know the glare is not really helping much, but it is a very glossy deck. But I really don't mind this deck being glossy. It really does. Like in person, when you're looking at the art, it's worth it. And that was the Tarot of Vampires with a Y by Ian Daniels. And that is still available through Amazon.
Yay.
And those are my decks.
And oh, what is your YouTube name, Hexen? So people can
The Bone Whisper _Hex.
And Leolyn, what's your YouTube name? Oops, I didn't mean to catch you off guard.
Must unmute myself. Leah Lynn Faywitch is my YouTube channel.
Leolyn Faywitch. And Steven.
Sound of a Nation Wave.
Yay! Steven does amazing daily readings. So if you want to see a daily reading that knocks your socks off. All right, Steven, your last one.
Okay, my last deck is the Green Witch Tarot. And this, again, is a deck that has all kinds of scenes that can be involved in linking a story together. I particularly like the Strength card in this, which is called the Crone in this deck, because you have a crone figure with the lion, as usually you get a much younger looking female with the lion, but it's like that inner strength and resilience has come through a lifetime of experiences, and I know, and she's still walking her path. She's still moving forward. The Nine of Aphemes, otherwise known as the Nine of Swords, which is a favorite, I know, of some.
Yeah.
And she's there clutching in some kind of sorrow or fear, or trying to comfort herself. You've got the moon shining through, and there's a bat there in the window. Almost could be a sort of like an ominous sign. Almost there could almost be a vampire connection with that. The old Dracula films where he used to come as a bat, first of all. That kind of nightmare horror scenario. The Five of Wands is like a scene from a story where you've got five young magicians there, or wizards, trying to outcompete one another, coming up with the best spell, and they're almost having a competition amongst themselves, which very much conveys that. But this guy here is having none of that. Going with the directions again, he's turned his back to it. He's resting here with Four of Swords. He's not going to have anything to do with this foolish competition. And the Wheel of Fortune is the wheel of the year, and it shows all the different sabbats and that here, all the different sections of the wheel of the year, with Yule at the top there, and we've just had Imbolc, and then Astara's next here. Look, so it's going through the year, the changes, the cycle of changes, which is all about the Wheel of Fortune. And lastly, but not leastly, we have the Ten of Wands, where she's walking up the hill. Look here, this is her destination, like this stone circle here with the light there. She's got to take it up there. And look here, there's a squirrel. So and she's almost stopping and having a chat to the squirrel, and almost asking him, sort of, her, what are you doing here, squirrel? And the squirrel says, I don't know, I've forgotten. I've had a squirrel moment. And she says, oh, is your name Jen, otherwise known as Mama Squirrel? So you can link all these kinds of things into stories. I think it's a really good deck to use with different ways of looking at the situation.
Yes, squirrels everywhere. There is, I have to say too, we were talking about in the chat earlier, we were talking about the Modern Spellcasters has a ton of squirrels in it too. That's part of the reason I love that deck so much, because it has a ton of squirrels in there. Yes. Okay, so am I the last one? Everybody else has done all their decks? Okay, so the last one that I have is, again, this is a mass market deck, so you can get this like Amazon, anything. Tarot of Mystical Moments. Again, I'm an ethereal kind of gal, so I love the ethereal fantasy worlds that it creates. It is super interesting to me. I would love to go pathworking with this deck. I honestly have not had the time yet to do that with this deck, but it is one of the decks that I plan on doing that with because it's so good. Now here is the Magician. And, you know, in this house that is a plant, that it's just one of those decks that is a little bit out there, but I love, love, love that. Love. It is unusual, ethereal, magical. Look at that Empress. Yes, we see that she's pregnant. How? Not because she's huge and fat, because you can see the baby, you know? Just here's the Emperor. Very different. Love how we have this library looking thing on his head, which, you know, says the logic and going through all the rules of things, right? The Hierophant. The owl is reading to the little girl, which I, of course, see Alice in. So different. So beautiful. This is the Lovers. Very ethereal. Very magical. The Chariot. I love that the Chariot happens to be a snail. So yes, it's, you know, things are moving. You have control, but it doesn't mean it necessarily is going fast. Just adore this deck for pathworking and for storytelling. There's a lot of different directions. Most of the characters, again, in these cards are looking one way or the other, so their focus is on something. So if you are doing it for the directional readings, you definitely can look to what's on the sides, what's on either side of the card, so you can see what they're looking at. Here's the Hanged Man. Really, really gorgeous. Death, which is such a transition that, you know, we're revealing our most vulnerable parts. Just gorgeous. This is one of my favorite decks that came out in the last year. I keep meaning to do, you know, end of the year. This is what I love that has come out. Here is the Devil card. Love, love, love this Devil card. Love it. The Tower. It's just so good. Trying to hold it together on your own. Nothing better. Nothing better. Love it. This whole deck is like that. Very ethereal. So, there is the Moon.
It really takes you in. Almost, it makes you like travel into that world. Like it makes you feel like you're part of it.
Yes, yes, yes. That is the Tarot of Mystical Moments. There is, just so you know, did I pull it? I swear I pulled it. Yeah. There is also an Oracle deck that is, I mean, just goes along. That's the Oracle of Mystical Moments. That goes along with this deck perfectly. Just, you know, and it's same kind of world, same kind of thing. So Okay. So that is it. That is our admin favorite storytelling pathworking decks. Hopefully you guys saw some decks that you think would work for you, storytelling, pathworking. Let us know. I'd love to see in the Facebook group, in Witchy Wisdom Facebook group, I would love to see some of your favorite pathworking decks, some of your favorite storytelling decks. Let us see what you think is, a great deck to do storytelling with. I would love to see that. I will now next week, Tarot Tuesday. Shit. I once again cannot remember what we're doing it on. I will I'm sure Stephen will remind me if I forget. I will make the event tomorrow, I promise, because we are later. I will probably not make it tonight. But I will make it tomorrow. It will be, we're going to continue on though with how we're reading. How do we stitch the story together? What will help us to create the reading for the person coming to ask us for a reading, or for ourselves for that matter. And so watch for that, and I will post the event tomorrow, I promise. I'm sure you all will help me with that.
Yes, that's what your admins are for.
Yep.
All right. So thank you guys so much. Please, again, click the like button on the way out. We love you. We so appreciate you. We thank you for coming on, for spending a bunch of time with us tonight. I know we've been on for an hour and a half, which means we've been on for like 2 hours straight with you all. And I thank you so much. And, thank you to my admins
That's
for
still
coming
true.
on. And yes, yeah, that's true. Yes, that's true. Poor Stephen, what time is it? It's 9:30 here, which means it's like, 1 a.m. or something, right?
Who cares?
He's right, though. The 2 hours is short for us.
Yeah, that's true. So thank you to my admins for coming on and for, always being there for us and for always helping me out. I love you guys. My admins hang out, and thank you guys so much. I love you. We'll see you next time.